Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.
Hello everyone, welcome to Lukman IAS. In this series, we are discussing the previous year questions of UPSC Prelims examination. And today we are going to cover questions from Art and Culture section. So now let us quickly see the topics from where we have taken question for the day. We have taken questions from these particular sections. One of the question is from Upanishads. Then second question is based on classical languages. The third question is based on classical dances. Fourth question is based on Mahayana Buddhism. So Mahayana Buddhism is a sect of Buddhism. Okay, so we have Hinayana, Mahayana and Vajrayana. So we will understand about Mahayana Buddhism. Then we will look into a question related to Buddhist architecture. And these questions are part of the prelims syllabus that says History of India and Indian National Movement. Okay, so with this, now let us take the first question for the day. Okay, so this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2014. Okay, let us read this question. The question says the national motto of India, Satyamev Jayate, inscribed below the emblem of India, is taken from. Okay, options are Katha Upanishad, option B Chandogya Upanishad, option C Aitreya Upanishad and option D Mundaka Upanishad. Okay, correct answer for this question is Mundaka Upanishads. We need to understand that Upanishads are the later part of the Vedas. Okay, so these are the ending points of Vedas, and Upanishads are considered to be brief text that actually help us understand various philosophical aspects related to that period of time. And so Upanishad, if we talk about Mundaka Upanishad, this is one of the most prominent Upanishads. At this point of time, 108 Upanishads are recognized, and out of them some important and prominent Upanishads are there. Okay, so out of those prominent Upanishads, one of the Upanishads is Mundaka Upanishad. From this particular Upanishad, we have taken the term Satyamev Jayate, and this term has been included in the motto of India under the emblem of India. Okay, so whenever you see the emblem of India, below it you see written Satyamev Jayate. Okay, so this is taken from this particular Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. So having understood this, now let us move to the next question for the day. This question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2015. Okay, this was asked in 2015. This question says, which one of the following was given classical languages status recently? Okay, when we are reading this question, the recent means like in the year of 2015 or before 2015. Okay, so we need to find out like which of these languages have been given the status of classical language. Okay, correct answer for this question is Odia. Okay, Konkani, Bhojpuri and Assamese are not classical languages. At this point of time, we have 6 classical languages in India, and the most recent being is Odia. Okay, so Odia is the most recent classical language that has been added into the list of classical languages. It was given the status of classical language in the year of 2014. Okay, so that's why UPSC has asked this question in the year of 2015. So this was one of the most important development that year. Okay, and apart from this, like we have 5 other classical languages. We have in all 6 classical languages including the Odia language. If we talk about the other 5 classical languages, one of the language is Tamil. Okay, so Tamil language has been included in the list of classical languages in the year of 2004. Then Sanskrit was included in the year of 2005. And after then Telugu was included in the year of 2006. Okay, 2008. Then Kannada was included in 2008, and at last Malayalam was included in 2013 before Odia. Okay, so now what are the classical languages? One of the classical language is Tamil, that was included in the year of 2004. Second is Sanskrit. Okay, it was included in the list of classical languages in the year of 2005. Then we have other classical languages. We have Telugu. It was included in the year of 2008. Okay. Then fourth was Malayalam. It was also included in the year of 2008. Then we have, okay, after Malayalam, like Kannada, sorry, okay, Malayalam was included in the year of 2013, okay, and Kannada was included in the year of 2008, okay. Then at last, Odia was included into the list of classical languages in the year of 2014, okay. So these are the 6 classical languages that we have. How do we remember these classical languages? We need to remember that there are 4 prominent languages in South India. What are those prominent languages? One of the languages Tamil, then we have Telugu, we have Malayalam, we have Kannada. All these 4 languages are part of classical languages, and obviously Sanskrit is also a classical language. Then most recent being is Odia, okay. So you can remember like that, okay. So from Hindi belt or from the North Indian belt, we have 2 languages. One of the languages Sanskrit, second language is Odia. And if we talk about other 4 languages, these are from South India, okay. These are Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam and Kannada, okay. So these are the list of classical languages. So this was a very easy question that year. And so what are classical languages? Classical languages are those languages that have high antiquity. Means like these are very old language, and at the same time we have written records, okay, written records of these languages dating back to 1500 to 2000 years. Apart from this, like we have, you know, ancient literature of these languages that are considered valuable heritage by the generation of speakers. Apart from this, these languages should have original literary tradition, okay, and those literary tradition should not be borrowed from, you know, the neighborhood or nearby languages. So these are some of the criteria that are considered before granting the status of classical language to a particular language in India. At this point of time, we have 6 classical languages, okay. So having understood this, let us now take another question for the day, okay. So this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2014, okay. This question was asked in the year of 2014, okay. See, to this part of the screen you can see a dancer, okay. So she is a dancer of a classical, you know, dance, and this particular, you know, dance form is about Satriya dance, okay. So this she represents Satriya dance. Now let us understand this particular question. So with reference to the famous Satriya dance, consider the following statements. We have been given 3 statements with reference to Satriya dance, and we have to find out the correct answers, okay. Number 1, it says Satriya is a combination of music, dance and drama, okay. So Satriya dance is a combination of music, dance and drama. So this is not only a dance, like, you know, the dancer also does drama and perform, you know, this particular dance is associated with music. So the first statement is correct, okay, first statement is correct. So if first statement is correct, we can eliminate option C that does not have first statement. Now let us read the second statement. It says it is a centuries old living tradition of Vaishnavites of Assam. This is also correct, okay. So this is a centuries old living tradition of Vaishnavites of Assam. So you need to understand, like, you know, in the region of Assam and northeastern India, the Vaishnavites, okay, have developed this particular Satriya dance, and one of the most prominent person who has, you know, given his huge input for the development of this dance is, you know, like Shankar Deva, okay. So that particular person is Shankar Deva, okay. So he is considered as Mahapurush Shankar Deva, okay. So that particular person was a Vaishnavite saint, okay, and he has included, you know, various portions from the Vaishnavite tradition, and at the same time he has taken some clues from the, you know, the traditional dance forms, okay. And so this Satriya dance was developed by, you know, the 15th century Vaishnavite saint Mahapurush Shankar Deva, okay. So that's why statement 1 and 2 are correct. If we talk about the third statement, it says it is based on classical ragas and talas of devotional songs composed by Tulsidas, Kabir and Mirabai. So Tulsidas, Kabir and Mirabai are not associated with this, with this form of dance. So that's why third statement is incorrect. If third statement is incorrect, we can eliminate option D as well. So correct answer for this question is option B. Here we need to understand that this Satriya dance is from the state of Assam, and Satriya dance is one of the classical dances of India. At present, India has 8 classical dances, okay. One of the 8 classical dances, Satriya. Apart from this, we have Kathak, Kathakali, okay, Mohiniyattam, we have Manipuri, okay, we have, similarly we have other traditional dances, 7 other traditional dances. So you need to learn about these classical dances, okay. And if you read the Yojana magazine of August 2020, the August month of Yojana magazine of 2020 talks elaborately about these classical dances, okay. If you want to learn more, you can, download the Yojana magazine from online websites, or you can, purchase an Yojana magazine. That will help you to learn more. And apart from this, you can also visit the CCRT website. From there, you can learn about classical languages, okay, or classical dances. So having understood this, now let us see this particular person, okay. So this person is Srimanta Shankardeva, okay. So this particular person has developed the classical dance Satriya, okay. So having understood this, now let us take another question. Okay, this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2016. Let us read this question. It says, with reference to the religious history of India, consider the following statements, okay. So it is about religious history of India. In religious history, we study about Buddhism, Jainism, Charvak and other kind of philosophies, okay. So here let us read this particular question, and here we have to find out the correct answer, okay. So statement 1 says, the concept of Bodhisattva is central to Hinayana sect of Buddhism, okay. This statement is incorrect, because when we talk about Buddhism, the major sects of Buddhism can be classified into 3 major groups. One of the group is Hinayana Buddhism, second one is Mahayana Buddhism, and third one is Vajrayana Buddhism. When we talk about concept of Bodhisattva, okay, so Bodhisattvas are associated with Mahayana sect of Buddhism. It is associated with Mahayana sect of Buddhism. It is not associated with Hinayana sect. So what do we mean by Bodhisattvas? Okay, Bodhisattvas are those sentient beings, means like Bodhisattvas are those people who are well on the path of attaining enlightenment. So they have, gone to a huge learning path, and now they are on the path of, they are at the verge of attaining the enlightenment. But these people are compassionate beings. So they have compassion and they want to help other people also in achieving their enlightenment. So what the Bodhisattvas do is that they delay their attainment of enlightenment for the sake of helping others, so that they can attain enlightenment themselves, okay. So this is a concept in Mahayana Buddhism. Let us now read other statements, and before that let us eliminate some of the options. We can eliminate option A and we can eliminate option D. Okay, let us see second statement. It says Bodhisattva is a compassionate one on his way to enlightenment. This is correct. Okay, this is correct. Apart from this, it says Bodhisattva delays achieving his own salvation to help all sentient beings on their path to it. Okay, so third statement is also correct. So second and third are correct. It means option B is the right answer for this question. Option B is the right answer. Okay, so this question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2016. Okay, so this is associated with Buddhism, and here you need to understand that Buddhism and Jainism are one of the prominent religious sects that you need to learn about them. Okay, because UPSC is prominently asking questions from these sects. Now let us take another question. This question was asked by UPSC in the year of 2017. Okay, it says the painting of Bodhisattva Padmapani is one of the most famous and often illustrated painting at. Okay, here we need to understand that the previous question was based on the concept of bodhisattvas. Okay, previous question was based on concept of bodhisattvas. So there you need to understand about who are bodhisattvas, what bodhisattvas do, which sect of Buddhism bodhisattvas are associated. But this question is a one step ahead. Okay, this question is talking about that the painting of Bodhisattva Padmapani is one of the most famous and often illustrated painting at. So where is this painting found? Here the image that you can see in the page, this is the image of Bodhisattva Padmapani. Okay, so this is the image of Bodhisattva Padmapani. Means like there can be multiple bodhisattvas. Many bodhisattvas are there. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is considered to be one of the most prominent bodhisattva in Chinese tradition. Okay, so Chinese consider Avalokiteshvara as one of the most prominent bodhisattva. But this bodhisattva is Padmapani Bodhisattva. Means like he is a bodhisattva. He is a enlightened person, and he is on the path of attaining salvation. Okay, so he is a compassionate person. So where is this painting found? Okay, so this is a painting that can be considered as a mural painting. Mural paintings means those paintings that are painted on a big wall or big ceiling, and it is found on a rock cut cave. Where is that rock cut cave? It is located in Ajanta. Okay, at Ajanta we find around 30 rock cut caves, and Ajanta caves are located in the Aurangabad district in Maharashtra. Okay, so this particular painting is found in cave number 1. It is found in cave number 1 in Ajanta, okay, which is located in Aurangabad district in Maharashtra. Okay, so that's why the correct answer for this question is option A. And this question was very easy, okay, as compared to the previous question, because previous question was based on the concept of bodhisattva, but this question is based on a particular image. And if you read the 11th standard NCERT on fine arts, okay, 11th standard NCERT on fine arts, and if you read up chapter where we have mentioned about these religious sects, you will exactly find this picture also in the NCERT book itself. And below this picture they have mentioned it is found in Ajanta cave and all. So that's why it is very important that you should broaden your learning horizon. Means you should read from different sources. One of the sources NCERT itself, and NCERT becomes the most fundamental and most important source. Once you cover the NCERT, you can start learning from CCERT, okay, website, and you can learn from other similar textbooks. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of today's discussion. Okay, and here you can see this is the image of Ajanta caves. Okay, this is the image of Ajanta caves. Here we find 30 such rock cut caves. You can see this is the base level, and Ajanta caves are very much down over here. Okay, these are rock cut caves. Here you can see a particular person who has visited Ajanta caves. Are you seeing? This is the Ajanta caves, and in the cave number 1 we find the image of that Padmapani Bodhisattva. Okay, so with this we have come to an end of today's discussion. Thank you so much everyone for attending the session. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.
Contact us to avail the combo offer of General Studies and Public Administration optional with 20% discount.